Alright, hey, we're in the kitchen again. Sue's beside me. She's going to help me.
Eat it.
She's going to help me eat it.
We're going to clean up afterwards.
That's the hardest part. She does all the cleanup. I do all the cooking. I make the mess. But we're making liver and onions today. And tell us, Sue, you said you never used to like it?
I never used to like it. For my whole life I didn't like it. And then one day my sister-in-law was making it. We were down there and it's like, oh my gosh, it smelled so good. So we sat down and had some. I was like, wow, this is really good.
So today I'm going to walk you along, show you how I make it. And my version, everything in my cooking shows how I make it. So I hope you like it and enjoy this video. We're going to show you how I do it. Hey, we're going to make some liver and onions. I don't know what kind of brand this is. Arumba Meats? Never heard of it. Looks Spanish or something. Not very expensive. No, total price $1.69 for this bit of liver. It looks like it's beef liver. And of course we're going to have some onions. We'll cut this one up. If we need more, we'll cut more up here, but we'll start out with one. We're going to have some flour. Dredge the liver in flour to cook it up. Add some spices there to our flour. Put some garlic, salt, cayenne pepper, some onion powder. We'll mix it up here in a nice bowl. We'll dredge our liver into the flour there, and then we'll cook it up. I like to make a gravy with my liver and onions, and I want some mashed potatoes for the gravy to go over. So rather than cut up and make homemade mashed potatoes, you got these Idaho. They're roasted garlic and parmesan, and they're an instant potato, and they're good. Make them all the time, so this is what we're going to have for potatoes. Alright, I'm going to slice my onion up first thing here. I always just cut both ends off of it. I want long slices, so I'll cut it in half here. Put a little slit in there and get rid of the skin. There's half of it. Get rid of the other half skin. Peel off the, sometimes onions will, you have to take a couple layers off to get it down to the good stuff. Alright, now we're gonna just slice these onions up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of leave them whole like this for this minute, and then when I put them in the pan, I'll, break the rings apart. Just makes it easy to move over to the pan that way. Now, the biggest part of liver and onions is onions. And there they are. They're all sliced into a big bowl. I want just enough here that we can dredge our liver. And I'm going to put some garlic salt into it. Just going to mix all my spices here right into my flour. Put some onion powder into it. This onion powder is going to have to be, it's gotten hard. It draws moisture. When you live down in Florida, we have a lot of humidity and things build up some moisture, so just clunk it up. I always put good amounts of it in so that you can at least taste it. Give it a little bit of a kick. We're going to put in some cayenne pepper. And then I'll just mix this all up here within the flour. And then I'll have that all set for when I want to dredge my liver in it. It will be all ready to go. Alright, I'm going to cut open my liver here. That sounded funny, didn't it? Cut open my liver. Now, if you drink enough, you might not want to use your own liver because it might not be in good shape. But anyway, back to seriousness here. There's the liver. It always looks kind of gross. Let's dispose of the package here. I'm gonna rinse it just a little bit here. Now, some people will rinse it in milk. They say there's a bit of a bitterness to it, and they claim the milk will remove some of that bitterness. So I'm going to melt butter into my pan here, and because you need some fat to make your gravy with. And so I'm going to fry the liver up into butter. And meanwhile, I want to make up my cooked mashed potatoes. I'm going to need 2 cups of water. And so I add 2 cups of water to the pan and get it up on high and get it started so that we can put our instant roasted garlic and Parmesan baby red mashed potatoes. So we can put some of them into. Got my liver here in this flour. I'm just going to use a spoon and just dredge the liver in the flour to just get them all coated nicely. And the way I use a spoon, see, I can kind of control the flour, and wherever the wet spots are, get some flour so I get a nice coating on it. And with the flour having the seasonings in it too, that'll help season the liver here at the same time. You see, it takes a little bit to get it coated, so you gotta, just kind of open them up and just dredge them around till they get nice and coated here. It sounds like our butter's kind of getting going here. And so I'm going to take each piece here and lay it out here and make sure it's covered up good in flour. Got my pan on a medium to medium high. And continue cooking each piece of liver over so I get a nice cut. This will make your gravy, your flour. And so by cooking it with the flour on it, that's going to produce our thickening for our gravy. We'll be using beef broth as our liquid. And of course the butter will give us our fat. But what I will be doing, see, I get these all in here and get it cooking them. And once I get these cooked down pretty good, what I'm going to do is take them back out, and it's my hands here. Get myself a fork to turn this. I'm going to pull them back out onto the plate, and then cook the onions up. Get a knife there. Some of those pieces are pretty long, and so I can make them easier to handle. I'll cut them up. I could have done that before I threw them in, but I didn't. Alright, so we're going to let this cook a little bit till we get it kind of browned up, and then we'll pull them out of the pan and place them on the plate there, and then start with the onions. All right, we're cooking the onions down pretty good, or the liver. Sometimes I don't say what I mean, but we're cooking liver and getting it where it's just browned up. And then we're going to be removing that here and putting it on the plate. Don't really take too long to cook, especially when you're going to be making the gravy up out of it. Looks like it's going to make quite a bit. You know what I think that was, $1.68 for this bunch? There's a lot of liver here. I don't make this often, but you know, now and then it's just you get in the mood for some liver. Looks like our potatoes are getting, let me get another spoon here. We can turn that off, and these potatoes are so easy to make. Just dump them in here. Stir them up good there, and they'll just kind of do their own thing. I just stir it till they get all incorporated here, and then I just pull them off the heat. Let them set until we're ready to go. Because how much easier could you do to make mashed potatoes without peeling and cooking them, and they're done just like that. So we're gonna let them set here. Let's get our liver turned over here about one more time, and then we're going to pull it out and put the onions in. It looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these out. Put them on a plate here. Let them rest off to the side. They got tired, so we're going to let them rest. Alright, we're going to put them down over here, and we're going to start putting our onions in. I use quite a bit of onions on this because I only had 2 onions left, and I thought I'd use them up. So I just break them apart here and let them start cooking. I'm going to turn them down just a little bit. I'm going to put it on about medium heat. Smells good. I got a lot of onions here. But they will cook down quite a bit. And that's my plan here, is to kind of get them cooked down. The onions are getting down about where I want them. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove the onions from the pan. Like a full stick of butter. Let this melt down. And now what I'm doing is going to make up a roux. Now I use a lot of butter. And if you've been to any of my cooking videos, you notice I don't cook for calories. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to eat healthy, well, probably not the way I cook. Putting 2 beef bouillon cubes in just to add the flavor, boost up that. We'll get this melted down here. We start smashing those beef bouillon. Get it incorporated here. Give that a chance to work itself down a bit. And I'm gonna use the beef broth. I get this opened up, ready to go. And all I'm doing is getting that butter melted down. getting close, being melted. So then I've got about a third cup of that excess flour. So now I'm going to put that flour in here and develop a roux. And this is how you get your gravy without lumps in it. Yeah, now you can use any fat, any kind of fat you want. You can use olive oil, you can use, some people just use the fat that comes off of the meat. But sometimes their gravy is very thin. I like my gravy thicker. And this way you can get a nice thick gravy here. Now I'm going to cook this just a minute or two, because what you want to do is that flour in your roux, you want to kind of get it browned up just a little bit. So you don't want to get a floury taste. If you don't cook that down, and like I said, just cook that roux down just a little bit and remove that flour taste, kind of toast up the flour is what I'm doing. You'll taste like flour. You don't want it to taste like flour. So you see it's kind of browned up real nicely there. So now I'm just taking my beef broth and stir constantly. I never stop stirring, and start incorporating that beef broth in here. You see it's already thickening right up. I usually add 1 whole can is what I do it. I don't know, is that a cup? It's like 12 ounces. Actually it's 14 ounces, 14.5 ounces. So I've added that whole can here. Turn the heat up just a little bit to get it cooking again. And I'm scraping the bottom of the pan, pulling all that flavor and goodies off. You can see how rich that gravy looks already, just from basically butter, some beef bouillon cubes, and some flour, plus all the drippings that was left over from cooking the liver and the onions. And at this point, we're going to add the onions back to it. Get that cooked together just a little bit here, and then next step we'll be adding the beef liver back to it, and it'll be all set to go. Now you could do it without putting the liver back in there, but I just like to dredge the liver into the gravy mixture. I just think it makes it taste better. Let's let that go a little bit here, and then we'll add the liver back. Alright, next we're going to put our liver back into the gravy here. Now I'm going to turn it back down here low and just let the liver hang out into the gravy and onions mixture, and just let it cook a little bit longer and finish itself up. And so basically it's almost done, besides let it just simmer down just a little bit here. Do its funny little mojo in its little gravy and onions hot tub. I like that. There it is. We've got the gravy and liver all set. The mashed potatoes are ready in there in the bag, and almost ready to eat. Just give it a few minutes to hang out. All right, we've got the liver and onions already made up. I've already tasted it. It came out really good. Got mashed potatoes there, and these are instant mashed potatoes, but they're always really good. You can go to the full thing of making regular mashed potatoes, but these seem to me work out just fine. So this is what we're having for supper today: liver and onions. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Hey, share my videos with all your friends. If you know somebody likes our recipes, I've got a whole section of recipes here on my YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys again the next time.